going to make potato soup. It is cold here, and something warm just sounds wonderful. I am going to cook this entire 1.5 pounds of bacon in the oven. That way it'll be ready to go for the other recipes this week. I've got some evaporated milk, butter, cheese to shred, an onion, green onions to put on top, potatoes, celery that has seen its better days, but I needed to use it, salt, pepper, flour, and then we're just going to use some water and maybe some stock just to add it up a little bit, just to up the flavor just a little bit. But this is one of these really simple. You'll never want to make potato soup any other way again because it is that simple. So come join me for my husband's favorite potato soup recipe. I've washed and peeled everything that needed to be. And we're just going to cut the celery. And we're just going to toss it into a bowl. So we're going to cut all these vegetables. And we're just going to toss this into a bowl because we're going to coat this in flour. I'll come back to that. For the potatoes, we're going to cube them. We're going to cut them into pretty small pieces. And then we're going to cube. Just like that. And toss them in the bowl. I've cut up 3 of the potatoes. I still have 1 more left. I'm making the decision whether I'm going to make all 4 potatoes. Those potatoes were rather large. This recipe calls for 2 pounds, and I think each of these potatoes probably weigh at least, I might be wrong. They weigh over a 1/2 pound each. I probably will just use it, just that way I've got it used and it's off my pantry. So, but we're just going to dice up the onions. I wasn't trying to make enough soup for an army, but I guess I'll have lunch this week. And this is such an inexpensive, easy soup to make. This is the worst part of it. It's just, this is the time-consuming part. But this is a great way to use up some of the veggies. Like the celery I had was going bad. So I actually had to dig through the celery to find enough. Okay. Once you've got it all cut up, and I ended up doing all 4 potatoes, it calls for 3 tablespoons, and I'll put the recipe down below. But we're going to do 4 because I have more potatoes than I should. Alright, and that's just flour. And all you want to do is get it all coated. It's going to help thicken. So is the starch when it cooks and comes out of the potatoes. This makes a really creamy potato soup. So you just do this. We're going to salt and pepper real well. It's a lot of potatoes. If you don't salt the potatoes prior to cooking them, they don't pick up as much salt afterwards. So, get this all incorporated, and you're going to let this sit for a few minutes. I've already went ahead and put the bacon in the oven, just because we like to top ours with bacon. It's not even necessary. And we're just going to let this all sit. It says let it sit for about 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead and get the butter and get it melting, and then we'll get this thrown in with the water. And I think I'm still going to use a little bit of chicken base just because I have it. It's been about 10 minutes. Butter is melted. We're going to take this without making a mess and drop it in. And you're going to get this all coated in the butter, or as much as you can. So I did the full stick of butter. It calls for 1/4 to 1/2 depending on your potatoes. And it's seeping into the flour, and it's all coated. Okay. At this point, we're going to start adding water until it just covers the potatoes. Okay. I've just got like a tablespoon of chicken base. And I'm going to just let it go in and it will dissolve. This ended up being 3 3/4 cup water to get it filled. And then we're adding in the 12 ounces of condensed milk. And that's all there is to this. All right. Let this come up to a nice low boil. Let it simmer. Keep stirring it. About 25 to 30 minutes. And you'll have dinner. There we go. All finished. And all I had to do was stir it. And make sure you do stir this. But look how thick this is. So easy, so good. Nice and warm. And even better, really budget friendly. I did cook all the bacon. I've cut up some already, but I have bacon. And that's going in 2 more meals this week. I will also use the bacon grease, and I shredded extra cheese because the cheese is going to go in the burritos in a couple of nights. So I got a few things done instead of doing them each night. I just went ahead. I was going to make a mess anyways. I might as well make it on one night and have it ready to go. Really easy, like I said. All I do is, you can have this any way you want, but I like to put some cheese on top. Think of a loaded baked potato. Some bacon, and some green onion. Who needs Panera when 1 bowl of Panera will basically feed you, everyone in your family? Tonight I'm going to do something a little different. My aunt in South Carolina makes a quiche that the other aunt raves about. And when I asked, I'll say her name, it's Bon. And when Bon makes this, I asked her after we ate it, what do you do? And she laughed and says, I clean out the refrigerator, Michelle. I don't do anything special. So that's what we're going to do. So this is all that bacon I cooked last night. There's the cheese I shredded for the week. Do you see where we're going here? I have eggs to use. Heavy cream. A store-bought pie crust because I don't make pie crust. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't make pie crust. I have some mushrooms to use. I have some green onions, and I have some potatoes. I just don't feel like doing too much more. I've got salt and pepper out. I am going to I'm going to cut up the mushrooms and saute them in butter. That's the extent of this. We're going to take some of those potatoes and I'm going to just toss them in the microwave. I want them soft before we put them in. And then we're going to layer all of this, make a custard out of the eggs and the heavy cream, and put it in the oven. And then we'll have dinner. And the best part, I'll have breakfast tomorrow morning. I've got the mushrooms sauteing in a little bit of butter. Basically, I want to cut out any moisture that is in there so it doesn't make the quiche watery. I just took these little potatoes and I put them in a bowl, some water, put them in the microwave for about 3 minutes. They're nice and soft, and I diced up some of the green onions. As soon as these mushrooms cook a little bit more, I'm going to throw the green onions in, and then I'm just going to slice these up really, really thin. And then I'll get the crust in the pan. I've got my pie dish oiled. Let's see. I am not the greatest, and I will be the first to tell you, I am not great at pie dough. I know the techniques, I know the ways to do it. I just don't think I'm great at it. You just want to make sure you get it in the dish. That's like the biggest thing. Yeah, this isn't going to be pretty. Oh well. And I even have one that's even fluted. This is made for people like me who don't think they make a pretty pie crust. But there we go. That's good enough. I just need it to be up on the sides. Keep seeing things. I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing stuff. All right. But make sure it's in there. Make sure that it is actually all the way to the bottom. And that's what I've been trying to get done. See how it formed a bubble? There we go. Now we're gonna lightly prick this just to make sure it doesn't rise and form bubbles. Just lightly, not over the top. See? It's already trying to form a bubble. There we go. All right. I've got my mushrooms, my onions. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these little potatoes, and all we're gonna do is cut them. They're already cooked. I just want them bite size. That's it, nothing special. And we're gonna put those in. Now, the thing is any vegetables that you might need to pre-bake so that they're not too hard. Otherwise, you don't have to, like with broccoli. You can throw peppers in there, they'll cook. I only cooked down the mushrooms and then threw the onions in there because I didn't want all the water. And the potatoes, I was worried they would never cook if I didn't. I might have been wrong on that, but you know, now I know it'll be cooked. So we're just gonna get this all in the bottom of the pan. Nice even layer. Then I'm gonna put the mushrooms and onions on top, and then we'll make the egg custard concoction and we'll throw it in the oven. By the way, my oven right now is preheated to 375. I lied. I cut up the bacon. I only used about 4 pieces. I still have one more recipe this week, so that 1.5 pounds is being stretched. So I still have 5 slices. I used 4 yesterday for the soup, 4 slices in this, and there's plenty. And then we're gonna take the cheese and we're gonna put it on top. may have to shred more cheese because I don't think there's now enough for the burritos, but that's okay. And now I'm going to make the egg mixture. Okay, I've got 6 eggs. I think this will fit. If not, I may not put all this in, but I think it will. Give this a good whisk. Now, seasoning-wise, you can add anything in here that you want. I am just adding in salt. Now remember, there's salt in the bacon, there's salt in the cheese, and I salted the mushrooms when I sauteed them. So I'm not gonna go too heavy on that, but I did get some pepper in there. Add in some heavy cream, milk, half and half, whatever you've got, not a ton. I'm not trying to water it. It'll just make it creamier. All right. Now, if I make too much, it's no big deal. I will put it in a pan and cook it. And then we're going to take this and carefully, as I said, this isn't the type of quiche that is heavily eggy. This is, the egg is holding all the other yummy ingredients together. So if it looks like I haven't put enough in, see, it all fit. I probably could have done the 8, and I might still, hold on. I'm just going in and arranging. This might actually work fine. I'm just making sure that there's egg because I want it to hold all the ingredients. I think 6 was the magic number. All right. Now I'm going to put this on a baking sheet so that if it spills, it shouldn't, but you know, it would be my luck it would. And it's going to go in a 375 degree oven, 30 to 40 minutes, and then we'll just check it. Right out of the oven. My pie crust almost got too done, so I had to make a pie shield out of aluminum foil. Maybe buying one of those the next time I see one. Now just to wait and let it cool a little bit, and then I will serve it. Well, it's cooled down, and I am just going to use, and it's Frederick's pepper jelly. And this is all we did, is put it on top. Nothing fancy. But look how good that looks. So easy. Great way to use up everything in your refrigerator. Budget friendly. And you've got breakfast the next day too.